Your understanding of this one concept of romantic love has the potential to not only impact your close relationships, but eventually will have a say on your career, life goals, ambitions, and eventually your personality, and perhaps even your character. In this video, we demystify this concept, which has caused some of the greatest of pains, the deepest of joys, depression, abandonment, rage, obsession, stalking, leading sometimes even up to suicide or homicide. We will focus on 5 things romantic love is not, but is usually mistaken to be, and 5 things it certainly is. Then we're going to add these up and summarize it with what a healthy descriptor of what this concept should probably look like. Hello, I'm Jerry Silversealan and welcome to my very first episode on YouTube. Ancient Greek philosophers from roughly 1500 BC to 300 BC broke down love in general into 7 broad types. The first one, ludus, is the playful, flirtatious and teasing kind of love. 2 people who just want to have fun together with little need for security or roots. Second, philia is a friendly, brotherly or platonic love. Pragma is long-standing love, the sustaining love between a committed couple which develops over a long period of time. Fourthly, agape love is selfless love, the love for humanity, the love you give without expecting anything in return, reflected in most of the charitable acts. Fifthly, eros, love of the body. It's defined as usually divine beauty or lust. Sixthly, philophthia is love of the self and has 2 kinds. One is it could be purely selfish and seeks pleasure, fame and wealth, often leading to narcissism. And there is another healthy kind of love we give ourselves. Seventhly, storge love is the love parents usually have for their children. It's based on natural feelings, comes effortlessly. The Old and New Testaments in the Bible refers a lot to eros love in the Song of Solomon, brotherly love between David and Jonathan, and agape love as divine love from God to mankind through Jesus. However, there is not much mention from that time period of romantic examples of committed couples moving from a position of healthy self-love or philophthia to eros, essential love, or ludus, a playful love, to pragma, the long-standing, committed love with sprinkling of agape type of selfless love throughout. Such a combination would perhaps be the ideal ingredients for a thriving romantic relationship. This is probably due to the fact that for thousands of years, marriage was initiated not based on romantic love between a couple, but as a mutually beneficial, pragmatic contract to further their influence, raise a family, their social status, security, trade, or property. The more current and Western traditional meaning of courting as a lover, or the general idea of romantic love, is believed to have originated in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This was possibly from French culture, from the momentum received from Romanticism, which was a literary movement spanning roughly 1790 to 1850. Romanticism was a movement towards nature and the common man's individual experience, an idealization of women, and creating a fashion statement out of isolation and melancholy. In essence, Romanticism is a philosophy to follow your heart wherever it leads you, with the goal of attaining happiness and fulfillment. Properties of romantic love sold by the Western culture through books, art, cinema has the following core properties in general. It is predestined. We are meant to find our one soulmate or twin flame. It cannot be easily controlled. Rather, when it happens, we are said to fall in love. We cannot help it when it does happen. If reciprocated, it may be the basis for a lifelong commitment. Another one is that it is the highest form of self-fulfillment we can ever hope for, that it completes us. It demands feeling over reason, and it requires impulse over practical considerations. Modern theories propose that romantic love is a complex emotion, can be divided into either passionate or companionate forms. Passionate love is an arousal-driven emotion that often gives people extreme feelings of happiness and can also give people feelings of deep anguish. This stage of passionate love, as shown in the movies, is said to be similar to being on cocaine, since during that stage the brain releases the same neurotransmitter, dopamine, as when cocaine is used. However, this stage has a transition date and is estimated to last with intensity only for about 12 to 18 months. This is to be ideally replaced with companionate love, where the couple may start to feel really comfortable with each other, to the point that they see each other as more companions or protectors and thus get security from it. To understand what true romantic love is, we need to understand firstly what it is not. So let's go on to the myths. Myth number one soulmate. Indicators of finding someone holding this concept would be hearing statements like, I need a soulmate. Only she will do. I cannot live without him. I have finally met my twin flame. We look around for that divinely appointed one. The dangers of being in this frame of mind is that we place undue pressures on our partner to be ideal in many ways. And when we realize after some years that it doesn't look like they measure up anymore, we doubt whether they were really the one. We look around desperately for the real one. And our search continues. Myth number 2. Unconditional love. Sounds lovely, isn't it? For in essence, something as pure as true love should be unconditional, should it not? Well, not really. Unconditional love is merely another way of saying the relationship has no boundaries or terms of agreements to be breached. Really, would we be happy to be disrespected? To be treated as a doormat then? Abused perhaps, slandered, cheated upon. This concept happens to be favored by many a narcissist, for they also hate the thought of boundaries or being held to their own given word. Myth number 3, it's chemistry. The movie ends with a lady confessing to a man, I have fallen in love with you. She has fallen. It is always portrayed as something one cannot control. When we experience intense, passionate love, we expect to feel a mixture of heightened energy, sleeplessness, loss of appetite, euphoria, mood swings, a pounding heart, emotional dependence, obsessive thinking about the beloved, and physical possessiveness. However, longitudinal studies have found that passionate love regularly declines after an initial relationship period of just 1 to 3 years. So if we base true love upon these intense, temporary feelings, we will soon find that the foundations are flimsy. The building built upon it perhaps may need a demolition then. Myth number 4, declarations. Like he is my other half. I'm incomplete without her. Or like Tom Cruise once said, you complete me. Can tend to melt one into the romantic heavens. But the thought behind these statements are merely deeply flawed, but they are also quite dangerous. It may well indicate unaddressed chronic insecurities or perhaps a lack of self-awareness within the person declaring so. For nobody has either the responsibility or capacity to complete us. It is our very own responsibility to own our thoughts, our choices, and improve our self-awareness and self-esteem. Codependency is not all it's glamorized to be through romanticism. It has a habit of turning toxic quite badly in the end. Myth number 5. Love is a permanent loneliness terminator. This expectation is built on the premise that we possess our partner and in a way have an expectation that their company, by default, is to be beside us at all times, to prevent us from being lonely. This myth tends to be vaporized sooner than the others. For very soon into a relationship, we realize that we can be physically right beside another, but yet be lonely. The danger here is that when we are restless and uncomfortable in our very own presence, we can end up transferring this unresolved demand onto our partner to fix our insecurities, discontentment, and restlessness. We discover that they cannot fix our loneliness. We end up feeling disillusioned, alone, and come to the sober realization that the only thing we actually possess is our own company and nothing else. Now let's move on to what true romantic love really is. Reality number 1. It's a willful, informed decision to commit. As we pass more decades upon the soil, we come to the understanding that rather than one divinely appointed soulmate, we are probably romantically compatible with many people, considering the 7.9 billion people who share this planet with us. So the issue then moves from a passing feeling to a willful and considered choice to commit to a person. It's not about finding the one, it's about committing to one and saying, yeah, I probably could have another, but I choose you. It's about honoring our given word. So while our feelings of passion will fade over time, our decision to commit should remain the same. Reality number 2, it's protected by being conditional. Healthy love has clear boundaries. However, it's important to differentiate healthy boundaries from merely trying to control our partners. The purpose of these conditions is that we don't take the partnership agreement for granted and to be clear about the exit clauses when breached. For the choice made by two people to commit to each other can be seen as a social contract with agreed terms on what trust, respect, loyalty, and intimacy means to each other. When breached blatantly by one, the contract becomes void, and we need to reevaluate whether we can continue staying in a building without any walls. Reality number 3, it's fueled by trust. Paranoia and love cannot coexist. We cannot afford to be constantly on the lookout for signs of betrayal. If we need a PIN code on our phone to protect it from the wary eyes of our own partner, it's a clear indicator that distrust thrives there. And this can only lead to restlessness and anxiety. True love, rather, is being completely secure in the thought that your partner will honor your agreed terms wherever they are, within your view or not. True love thus becomes a peaceful state because we can afford to rest in this deserved and proven trust. Reality number 4, it's kept alive through passion and intimacy. Without these, a romantic relationship will be like stale bread. With the changing demands of careers, children, possibly house relocations, tragedies perhaps, relationships tend to fizzle out when one or more partners don't purposely invest themselves in new and exciting activities to keep it alive. Reality number 5, its solid foundation is respect. Have you ever seen a couple in love who don't respect each other? No, because they don't exist. Respect is the cornerstone of a loving relationship. For what we really want in our partner is to be valued and for them to respect us when they see us at our worst, our weakest, our most vulnerable. To respect our words of commitment through our partner's disappointments, fading beauty, and intellect would be the ultimate portrayal of true love. Perhaps in summary, the ideal ingredients of a sustainable romantic relationship would be starting perhaps from a position of healthy self-love and awareness, or philadelphia to eros, essential love, or ludus, playful love, to pragma, the long-standing committed love with sprinklings of agape, selfless love throughout. To wrap things up, let's end with a proposed descriptor of what true love should possibly look like. True romantic love is not merely a feeling, nor is it unconditional to be blatantly exploited. a prescription by the stars, or even a predestined divine event where one meets a long-appointed soulmate. And it was never intended to eliminate our loneliness forever. It is, however, a willful and absolute commitment to the spoken word given to a chosen, compatible other, to prevail through disappointments, boredom, tragedies, discontentment, illness, fading beauty, and intellect. In its healthiest form, it is but a conditional love founded on respect, powered by trust and loyalty, and kept flourishing through passion and intimacy. Its earthly end is habitually marked when a mutually arranged term is willfully violated by one, or when much cherished continually by death. Perhaps then, true love is simply the utmost persevering respect one human can afford to give another. For without respect, there can be no love.